I got to meet one of my heroes this past summer. His name is Javaris Perry. He had just graduated from St. Pete High. I went to a football dinner right before their spring game and was eating there, and he walked up, about 6'4", looked like a stud athlete. He'd already graduated. I was like, oh, gosh, this is one of these kids that's probably going to be full of himself, whatnot. Totally opposite. Comes up, smiles, starts talking to me, finds out I played college football, and he's like, well, I'm going out to California to play, and I was wondering if I could grab lunch with you, and you could kind of tell me a little bit about what it's like. And so he was going to a JUCO out in California. He comes from a single parent single parent home, and he'd been raised by his mother and his sisters. And I told him, hey, give me a call in 2 weeks and I'll take you to lunch. So didn't really expect him to call, because I'd put that on a lot of kids and they never call. But I got a call from him in 2 weeks, and we ended up going to lunch. And throughout the entire conversation, it just kind of totally shifted my focus on what my job was, because here's a kid that was sitting there and just explaining to me how his entire life no one had ever taken him out to lunch or listened to him. And he had a cup with a lid on it and a straw, and he was sitting there going, he's like, I just want to thank you very much, because I've never had anyone that's like invested in me or talked to me. And this was after an hour and a half of just listening to him. And he opened his cup and he said, see, the straw goes all the way down to the bottom of the cup, but all anyone has ever seen in my life is just that first part. They've never like just taken the time. And so I kind of was moved a little bit, and I was like, well, would you want to meet till you for the rest of the summer until you go off to school? He's like, I'd love that. And so he'd kind of, his parents or his mom had raised him in a Christian home and encouraged him, and he'd been back and forth, but his grandmother had actually led him to Christ 5 months before. And so we started walking through the Word a little bit, started walking through some devos, and we came across one challenge, and it was read through one of the Gospels this next week. And so I was like, okay, you got 7 days. You could probably get 4 chapters a day. You could probably do it. Just send me a text, and that'll be your accountability, and I'll do the same thing. So I'd kind of gone through these with a few kids before, but nothing had ever come through with it. They never followed through. And the first night I got a text, second night I got a text, and I'd also told him I'd also bought him a journal, along with I'd also bought him a Bible, and said, write those questions you have if you're coming across. And so we met the next week, and I'd gotten a text from him every night, and like he had journaled and asked me all these questions, and we sat for about an hour and a half answering all these questions about what he'd been reading. And so we continued doing that up until he left in the middle of August. And I was like, you know, it'd be really cool if you kept on going that, you know, and you can keep sending me those texts. And so he had continued through August, and I was like, man, he's gonna go out to California. I don't know if he'll still do it. But literally, we're at the beginning of January now, and since the middle of June, I've gotten a text message from him where he is in the Word, and what he's learning, and the stories behind it, and how friends are coming to him on his team, and they're like, ask this guy. He's in the Word all the time. He knows where it is, and just the different things and the ways he's been encouraged friends, families. And probably one of the coolest things for me, and why I would say he's my hero, is because he goes above and beyond in terms of making sure that getting in the Word is that important to him. Because it's California time, so it's already 3 hours later in Florida. And so I'll get text messages at 4, 5, and 6 a.m. and he's been up late studying. And we had a couple of conversations over Christmas break, because he was in town, and he was like, man, there was a couple times I was out with my friends, and we were out late, and then we were riding back, and I was like, what did I forget to do? What did I forget to do? He said, I didn't get in the Word today. So at like 3 o'clock in the morning, where I probably would just kind of sit there and be like, you know what, I'm tired, I'll get in the Word in the morning when I wake up. He literally will sit there and get his Word in, get his journaling in, and he literally has said just getting in the Word has changed his life and has been such an encouragement to me, not only from from just seeing the fruit develop in him, but also just an encouragement to me as someone that I could look up to, that no matter what time it is or no matter how tired I am, just to continually get in the Word. And it's been really fun to walk with him just these past 9 months. And he's invited me into his home and for graduation parties, and he calls me when he needs things. And I basically, we've only gotten 2.5 months together in the same city, but it's really cool to see how the Word can tie people together, and what it's like to watch someone just walk in that manner worthy of the calling.